Dr. Foster. How you doing? Good. Hello.
Oh,
Just
the
there
person
we
I
go.
needed to ask. Nothing.
Are you teaching?
Yes. I just wanted to let everybody in the room know that we have a few board members that have texted and saying they're running a few minutes late, so we're just going to probably start more like 3:15.
I know you walked in so early. I was like, wow, Kate's here. I missed your parents. Yeah, they were.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to call this meeting of the WOU Board of Trustees to order at 3:15 on June 3rd and ask Secretary Source to do the roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. All right. Trustee Evans? Trustee Jackson?
Here.
Trustee Romero?
Present.
Trustee Showalter?
Present.
Perfect timing. Trustee Vu?
Here.
Trustee Hall? Trustee Perez?
Here.
Trustee Zook?
Here.
Trustee Schwartzler?
Here.
Vice Chair Nalsestian?
Here.
Oh, Trustee Ambrose. I forgot Trustee Ambrose.
Here.
And Chair Fasada.
Here. All right, well, again, welcome to Western Oregon's beautiful campus on a very beautiful day outside, and to our last board meeting of the academic year, as well as, of course, my ancestral homelands for the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. I think this time of year is very celebratory, so I'm hoping that this meeting reflects some of that joy we have as we wrap up the academic year and wish some of our students the best as they venture out onto their next chapter. President Peters, did you have any opening remarks today?
Sure, I just want to bring welcome to everyone, as you did, especially to our beautiful campus. And this time of year is an exciting time of year. This time of year, we're leading up to graduation, which is the most exciting day of all. Move-in day is pretty exciting, but the graduation day, just because we know that all of those students are going to go forth into the world and do wonderful things, and their families and friends and caregivers are all in attendance, and it's just a wonderful moment for us. A few things that have been going on just as we lead up to this: our Academic Excellence Showcase last week was wonderful. We also had over the weekend the athletic auction, which was a great fundraiser for athletics and raised about $240,000 in one evening, so that's really nice. And we're coming up on a graduate hooding ceremony, which is relatively new for our university, but that's a wonderful event. And then, of course, commencement. And if you have not heard, Teresa Alonso Leon is going to be the commencement speaker. She is an alum of the university and has a very interesting story that involves her debt to both this institution, but just to higher education in general and the power of what it can do for someone. So there'll be 773 graduates to walk out of, I think, just over 1,000 who will be receiving degrees. So that's a great day indeed. So look forward to seeing all of you there. So as we move on into what we do as a tradition at our board meetings, to try to kind of ground ourselves in our student experience and put our students at the center of what we do and remind ourselves that we're here to help the students be successful, we're going to hear from some of our students who have received awards this year, and I'm going to ask Cameron Mortensen to come up. Cameron is the Executive Assistant to the Vice President of Student Affairs, Tina Fuchs, to introduce the students so we can hear from them and have the trustees engage and ask some questions perhaps. So please come on up.
Over here.
Rotating tables.
It's a really good view.
All right, thank you. For those who I haven't met, my name is Cameron Mortensen. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Executive Assistant to the Vice President for Student Affairs, Tina Fuchs here at WOU. And today I'm super excited because I get to help celebrate and highlight some of our amazing student award recipients this year. So I think we have one of each award, which is funny, just the way it worked out. So we have the Heart of WOU Award, we have our Distinguished Student Leader Award, and we have our Outstanding Graduating Senior Award. I did print out a brief summary of each award, just in case you're not familiar with it. So the Heart of WOU Award honors students who truly embody what it means to have a, quote, heart for people, end quote. This award recognizes not only outstanding involvement in academic standing, but also compassion, empathy, and community building. The Distinguished Student Leader Award celebrates students who have shown exemplary leadership through a variety of co-curricular experiences, academic achievement, and sustained service to WOU. And our Outstanding Graduating Senior Award is given to students who have had an impact at Western, are positive role models for their peers, and have a range of campus leadership, co-curricular activities, academic achievements, community-based service, and volunteer experiences. These students are also invited to speak at commencement. So as someone who got to see all of the nominations for these students and the applications that students submitted, these students are incredible. I was in awe of how they were able to do all of these things. Just looking back at my own experience in college, I have no idea how they found the time to do all of this. So just to start there, they're amazing. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and just ask them to introduce themselves. So if you could start with your name, where you're originally from, how long you've been at WOU, and which award you are representing today. And anyone can start.
I'll start. Okay. Well, no, Morgan looked at me and went, hi, I don't know if you know me, I'm Viviana Romero. I use she, they pronouns, and I am originally from Palmdale, California in LA County, and I am a Heart of WOU recipient.
So, hi everyone. My name is Jada Garcia. I am originally from Gresham. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's basically Portland. I've been at WOU since fall 2021, and I am the recipient of the Outstanding Graduating Senior Award. It's a long award.
Yeah.
My name is Morgan. I'm the recipient of the Distinguished Student Leader Award. And where I'm from is a really complicated question, but I like to say I was born kind of outside the Chicago area.
And I've been here since fall of 2021. I forgot that part.
I've been here since fall of 2022.
Perfect. Okay, so to start, what experiences at WOU have helped shape your leadership journey the most, and why?
So many.
I was going to say, for students who have done so much, this is a tough question to start with.
I think I can go first, unless Vivi, you have something? Okay. So I would say something that has like had the biggest impact, or like kind of the start, is I was involved in Destination Western. So I was a student participant, and then I went on to be a PA, and now I'm service coordinator. I think that was like my first kind of taste of leadership, would be like doing that. As well as I work at advising. I work as the student front desk person. That was also a big taste for like what it means to be like a student on campus, or like a face that people see when you walk in somewhere. So I would say like those are like my first like big impacts.
Okay. For me, similar to Morgan, I would say Destination Western also helped me a lot. I think back then they were called Plus Team. So my Plus Team member was really involved and would literally drag me everywhere, and he encouraged me to attend some of the clubs that he was involved in that later I eventually joined. So I would say that was the most impactful experience.
Yeah. For me, my most impactful experience has probably been working within the Residence Hall Association. In 2021, I was their first year liaison, and ever since then, I have stuck with them. I am now currently the president, and specifically within that, what has inspired me is every year during PAC Welcome Week, we do a Welcome Week bingo. And these past 4 years, I've had the privilege of being the bingo lady. So I spin the balls, and I'm like, B1. And everybody who I've interacted with after that event has been like, oh my God, there's the bingo lady. Or has told me that they always come back for bingo because I do a really good job of announcing it. So I would say that's probably one of the most impactful things here.
To put that on your resume, bingo lady. How has your involvement in these activities prepared you to lead beyond college in your career or community? And feel free to expand however you see fit.
I can start us off with this one. Well, my experiences within housing specifically led me to wanting to get more involved, and in winter of 2022, I became a desk assistant to the Vice President of Student Affairs, and at the same time, Tina moved up from housing with me. And specifically working within Student Affairs and housing has ignited this love for higher education within me, so I really hope after I graduate to give back to higher education, I plan on applying to a lot of universities, specifically within student affairs and housing. And I really think something that we do here at WOU is we teach student leaders how to lead from the heart and put others first, as well as like holding space for our true selves. And I've gotten the chance to interact with student leaders from other institutions, and really that's something so specific to WOU that I would love to bring other places.
No, do you want me to go?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I thought Jada was gonna go next, but she's telling me to go next, so it's fine. I say you like learn a lot of professional skills just working with other people. I think half of like corporate life or any kind of job is like how you can work with other people. How do you relay information? What information like needs to be shared? What needs to be kept like on for a little bit longer? I would say that one of the things that like has really impacted me just working in this spaces is like I work in a lot of spaces, and I'm really lucky for this, that have a lot of faith in me, which I think is just like a great way that I've blossomed. Like they tell me the rules, obviously they train me, they give me all of that, but then they kind of are like, they let me interpret that however I want, and that kind of faith and trust really like builds up your self-esteem. And so I do feel like I'm like, I could do anything with the team that I have behind me, and just having, you know, that kind of confidence in me, especially like when you're a freshman, like sometimes you just need that person who like believes in you, who sees you, who's like, yeah, you got this. And I think like all of my teams do a really good job of doing that.
So I've been involved in a variety of different involvements, all in different areas, but I would say the most impactful would be my time during being part of the Unidos Club, which is the support group for Undocu Plus community. You know, that being involved in that type of group taught me how to work with others, and as well as how to advocate and recognize need and take initiative and come up with solutions and propose them. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you share a moment when you saw your leadership or advocacy efforts directly impact another student or the campus community as a whole?
I can start. I feel like I always share this example, but like when you work Destination Western, like you have students who text you like all hours of the night, like, I'm gonna drop out, like nonstop. Like that, literally half the job is just being like, don't drop out. But no, it really is just like playing volleyball in the Grove and then being like, you got this. But the wonderful thing about that is like I have these students who like, yes, like it's challenging those weeks that I work with them, but then I get to see them like years later. Like my first group, I still see the people who like were really struggling, and I see them find their own community and then find their own ground, change their major, like explore their identity. And to see them still here and still doing well and catching up and being like, oh, how are you doing? It really makes the work feel really grounding and very like rewarding to know that like me just sitting with someone while they're telling me like, I don't think I can do this, and just being like, yeah, you can do this, and seeing how that makes such an impact on them and how they're able to like integrate into our community. I think student leaders, especially when we work with new students, which I think all of us work with new students, is just like, how do you want the campus community to be? Like we have such a big control over that. Like what atmosphere are we doing? What are we telling students? What are we explaining to new students? What are we demonstrating to new students? And being able to see that kind of culture change over time. Like if I feel a certain way, like this isn't widely accepted, then I can go ahead and model that behavior. And new students love to see student leaders like what they do and how they're supposed to act in college, and those kind of, you can like kind of set social norms. I don't know, sometimes when I talk too much I feel like I lost the plot, but like I hope that I was still on.
You were there.
I have something. Okay, unless you do.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I think something that, sorry, the question was how you've impacted other students?
If you've impacted, so a moment your leadership or advocacy efforts directly impacted another student or the community of the campus.
Perfect, thank you.
It's a broad question.
Yeah, specifically within my role in this position as a trustee at the February meeting, the student Toby who made the public comment actually came up to me at lunch and was like, you speaking up for students really inspired me to make that public comment, and that meant so much more than anything I could ever expect, because it's very scary to like be in these places, and luckily I get the chance to meet you guys and know you as humans, but other students don't get to do that. So the fact that just me being a student and speaking my mind can inspire somebody to do that, and also that person has been chosen the ASWU nominee for my position, so I'm really excited.
I would say the major moment that like I saw how my leadership affected the campus community was when I was made the recipient of the Maurice Prize Initiative for my proposal to establish a dream center at WOU. So for this proposal, I interviewed a variety of people, students and prospective students that are wanting or interested in going to WOU. And during that, I had a lot of emotional conversations with these individuals, and when I was doing the presentation at Academic Showcase, I saw a lot of supporters come together, including the students that I interviewed with. I remember that was a pretty full room. In my mind, when I was up there, I was like, I didn't even know that many people actually liked me. But it was really emotional to see like how that really came together and like that collectiveness.
It's amazing, thank you. And the final question I have for you all, what words of advice would you give to incoming students who want to make a meaningful impact during their time at WOU?
Get involved. It's so much fun. We have so many amazing, sorry, I totally jumped in. We have so many amazing like leadership opportunities on campus, such as Discover Leadership, Hall Governments, RHA, WOU Crew, Destination Western Peer Advisor. Even like people don't necessarily recognize it, but even being a desk assistant is another form of leadership. And just getting involved on campus, there's so many things you can do. Join a club, join ASWU, be a senator, be a justice. Like, I have to say my favorite times here at Western are my student leadership memories and moments. So get involved. Also, do the leadership certificate. It's very fun, and you get a certificate at the end.
I guess I can go next. I already forgot what the question was.
What words of advice would you give to incoming students who want to get more out of their time at WOU?
I would say definitely get involved early, like Vivi mentioned, but also don't wait until you think that you're ready. I know like during my freshman year, like I put off getting involved just because, you know, I was like, oh, like I need a little bit more time. Really, it was just me procrastinating on my end. And also not joining everything just to join. That is the quickest way to burn yourself out. And it's noticeable in the work. Like if you're not passionate about like the area that you're working in, and it could be quite frankly annoying to the others who are working with you. So that would be my advice.
Ooh, this is all really good advice. Oh, I feel like I'm not in the mic. Okay. I feel like that's really good advice. I think the one thing that I always think about is that there's kind of this like, I don't know. At least when I came to college, I had this feeling that like I didn't belong at certain places. Like I'm not qualified. Like I'm not in this major. I can't do this thing, or I don't identify here, so I can't do that, or like I'm not super outgoing, or I'm not whatever. Like you can have these like self-limiting ideas. It's like I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this. When in reality, like the world is your oyster. Western is your oyster. Like don't have those self-limiting beliefs that like I can't do this or I shouldn't be the one to do this, because you're just limiting what you can do. And I think that people get really focused on the idea that like, well, business majors should do business and economics club, and this group, and if you want to be in student government, you should be like a public policy major, when student leadership is so much more than like what you major in or anything like that. It's about like what you want, and you can get skills from any kind of position that are going to transfer. You don't need to like have a one-to-one, like I want to do this after like college, so I'm going to do this. There's so many more opportunities and things you can learn, and you can really like broaden your mind almost, like doing things that maybe don't align typically with like your career goals or like stuff like that. So just like be open-minded and don't limit yourself. Like just like if you don't belong there, you're going to know you don't belong there. So just go out and try and see what happens.
That's good advice for me.
Yeah, this is for you, Cameron.
Yeah, exactly.
That was why the panel was put together.
It's an intervention. So those are the questions we had prepared ahead of time, but I also wanted to turn it over to the board in case any of the trustees had any follow-up questions or additional questions for these students.
Yeah. Congratulations. I'm so glad you're here, especially this busy time of year. Thanks for taking the time and telling your stories and inspiring us. And so on the theme of celebration, my question is, a few days from now, how are you going to celebrate?
I'll go first. Man, I tell Paige this every day. I want to go outside. I just need to lay in the sun for a little bit. I really like to just lay, read a book, get off my phone. So I just miss the sunshine. Like spring term especially, it's like I gotta be inside, gotta go to class, gotta do this, be in the library. But it's like I want to be outside. Like the sun is out, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go in the sun.
I gotta walk first, and then I will celebrate. I got a thesis to finish. Yeah, Jada and I are honor students, so we're both working on our thesis still. So once that's done, my partner and I are going to take a little beach trip to the coast and just to celebrate, because it's been a long 4 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So after I finish my thesis and walk, first thing I probably am going to do, I come from two very distinctive cultures. My mother is black, my dad's Mexican, and both cultures, what they do is that they throw these huge barbecues with lots of food that I plan on enjoying, and then worry about the weight gain later. So.
It's a future Jada problem.
Yeah.
Morgan, something you said about students saying, I want to drop out, I want to drop out. Could I ask, retention is extremely important, not just getting students here, but making sure they succeed. Are there common themes or things that you noticed of what catalysts were for students wanting to drop out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think one of the ones that stands out to me the most is social. Students do really have that hard time transitioning from high school to college life, and I think most of it is it's very overwhelming to have to start fresh. And I also think that just something that I've noticed is COVID has really impacted people's abilities to interact. So a lot of the times the reasons are obviously insecurity reasons, I don't think I can do it, I don't feel like I belong here, in addition to not being sure on how to engage socially, with professors, with staff, with even us as peer advisors, and then there are other students. A lot of what you do as a peer advisor is interpersonal problems, which they seem to have a lot of when they come. So just giving them those tools, how to navigate making friends. Half of what peer advisors do is just pretend to have fun doing things as well, which really, really helps students get involved. It really is. It's just they have that idea that idea it's cringe to have fun, and so when they see people who they see as cool, getting really into painting, that really, really helps them. As well as I just feel they get so overwhelmed by this I don't know how to socialize, that it's just you have to just be well, take a step at a time. You just need to stay here for a little bit. It's just kind of assisting on the transition. So I would say just to brief it would be social pressure. They have a really hard time socializing, on top of lack of social development or emotional regulation. And then also like financial and stuff like that is also a reason, but that's not something often peer advisors deal with. Like I can't really help you if you're having financial aid problems, but I can walk you to the office and stuff like that. So I would say those are our main things that we as peer advisors deal with.
Can I follow up on that? Yeah. So then, you may not have the answers for everything, but do you feel that Western has the place where you can go so that you can send them somewhere?
Yes.
And based on that, it's just that, is there something that we're missing so that you can give us some enlightenment so that if there is a problem that you've seen happen again and you don't really know where to go, are there things that we could help to provide that?
I think like during Destination Western, we have like a ton of resources available, and a good peer advisor knows the people who work in those places. And as just someone who's worked at the university, I don't feel like there's a department that is like not welcoming, not open. Like someone there, like as long as you can give them that warm handoff, it does work. I think there are just some structural issues with the university. Like obviously price of tuition is a lot for students. But I think Destination Western is works really well because we have all these resources almost available 24/7. Once the school year starts, your built-in friend group kind of starts to, new people are here. You're not paying people to interact with them and spend time with them, right? So those kinds of things. I'm sorry if I put that in a very harsh way, but the reason why we're there is to give them that sense of community. And obviously once the contract is over, I gotta go to class, I can't be on the phone with you all the time.
Yeah.
But it's more so Destination Western has all these resources available all the time, and staff are prepared knowing that these are the issues gonna be happening. Then when all the other students come on and we go back to more regular business hours is when I think it starts to get more tricky. So that transition from everything's available all the time, someone's gonna walk you there, all of that is available, to when normal school year, that's not always the case. Yes, I hope I answered that well.
Could I add something? Oh, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Morgan's like, no, stop talking. No.
Oh, actually, Vivi, I'm going to have to turn the mic off.
You're here. No, I think I think everything Morgan said is absolutely 100% true, and even more. But I think something that students also struggle with on the campus is not feeling heard and not necessarily knowing where to go to feel heard. And sometimes when we do bring it up to people, we are almost, and I don't believe this has been anybody's intention. I know a lot of people have, not a lot of people, almost everybody I've interacted with at this university has amazing intentions. However, sometimes some things can come off to us students that we feel as if it feels like we aren't allowed to be into these conversations because we don't understand what's going on. And all we want is to be able to understand, because we have so many very smart students here. That was proven and then some by the Academic Excellence Showcase. And even students who weren't in the Academic Excellence Showcase are so smart that I think if given the tools and access to these tools, and I do know the tools are open for access, just we don't know where to look for that stuff. So I think showing us where it is and giving us the tools to understand it will improve students' life. Life isn't the right word, but students' time here.
Right. Can I add on to that? I know me and Vivi together, it's we're just snowball off each other. I also think it's one of the things is hard department lines where it's what is one department's job versus the other, that kind of overlap. I immediately think of financial aid versus the business office. So I would just say that one of the things that's helpful is having departments be really friendly with each other, and knowing that they can we're all working for the same goals, just different aspects and different specialties. Just that staff relation is super, super important, because especially financial aid business, you can have them running around in a circle. So making sure that our departments are communicating with each other clearly and working together and have that good bond, students can pick up when it doesn't happen. and they come running back to their people like, do these people like each other? And then that puts us in an awkward situation to be like, well, I just work here, like, I don't know. I just think that's something that's really important, because like every department does its own thing and has its specialty, and sometimes things can overlap in a weird gray area, so making sure that like we're all working together, not just like, okay, I'm gonna send you there and now you have to go here and then you have to go there, trying to have a more unified approach to certain situations.
Thank you.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say congratulations. I want to echo that. You are all amazing people, and we have been lucky to have you here and have our journeys cross together at this special place. And with that, I also want to say thank you to all you've brought to Western, and to all you've brought to the students and the faculty here and us as trustees. So, hi, Masi, much gratitude to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As you're leaving, I just want to also say students like you make a lot of difference at a university, because you do have voices, and we get to know you. And the trustees may not be aware, but Morgan is our incoming WOU president. So Morgan will be involved in governing the school next year, so it'll be great.
Back to my regular view. It's
Welcome
a little
back.
intimidating. It's like, whoa.
Just a shift around the table.
Yeah. Oh, tomorrow I'll be over there, and I'll be up here.
All right, so let's move into our stakeholder updates, and we'll start with shared governance.
This is going to be Morgan.
Oh, okay. I guess we welcome Morgan.
She just walked.
And she did. Just walk.
Okay, well, we'll come back. I'll go figure that one out.
All right. And welcome Trustee Evans to the table. We saw you in the back there. All right, then let's move on to our Faculty's Senate report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chair Kasana, President Peters, members of the board. I'm Steve Scheck. I am the lame duck president of Faculty Senate. And I do want to introduce the incoming president of Faculty Senate, Dr. Michael Balsley, and I'll give Mike an opportunity in a moment to say a few words. But this is a bittersweet moment for me. It's been 3 years since I first started testifying before the Board of Trustees, and for a professor, having the microphone and forcing people to watch you and listen to your very lofty words is really a rush, you know, and so I'm going to have to give that up and just get that for my regular students, which is also a rush. And so it is good to be around students like the ones that you just met. I had supplied an essay to you in a report that you may have already perused, and it has a lot to do with what the Faculty Senate is facing and assisting Provost Cole in academic affairs, and how do we strengthen and solidify the academic programming that is offered here at Western Oregon University. A university is a very complex operation, as you are very much aware, and the offices for support services for students and athletics and grounds and keeping the lights on are obviously very important, but it is the academic programming that is why students come here, and it's the academic programming that students pay their tuition for that runs the university. And so it is critical that we have a portfolio of academic programs that ensure that the university remains sustainable. And that is the work of the Academic Sustainability Committee that I've made some references to in here. What I would like to also point out is that, like with every organization, there's financial resources, but there's also personnel resources. And what will be occurring over the ensuing years is, how how to best deploy our faculty resources. And one of the first steps that my companion here is going to inherit is for Faculty Senate to re-envision how it operates. How often does it meet? How is it constituted? How many senators are there? We have a model that we're using that has been in existence for probably more than half a century. And back in paper days where there wasn't Zoom, where everything was very traditional, quadrivium and trivium driven in terms of programming, and some of the biggest issues of debate were over a particular course description. Course descriptions are important, but we definitely have more important things to devote faculty attention to, especially if they're being pulled to serve in many different ways. Another colleague of ours will come up shortly, but was very instrumental in the new collective bargaining agreement that the board, I know, is familiar with, and a new concept of faculty workload unit, or faculty workload units, which is where the faculty plan a year in advance. How am I going to deploy myself? How many courses am I going to teach? What courses are they? This stuff planning goes on anyway, but we now are going to document it to show where are the demands on the faculty. And one of those demands on the faculty is a service component. There's teaching, there's scholarship, and there's service for how tenure track faculty especially are evaluated. And the role that faculty play when they become senators or when they serve on committees of the Faculty Senate comes under that service category. We currently already struggle with identifying faculty to serve in many of these capacities because they are stretched to do other things. And so what the Senate wishes to do, and I believe Dr. Balsley will be very able at leading this charge in the future, is to re-examine how Senate works and how committee structure works, as I was saying. Do we really need 12 people on a committee to represent the 12 academic divisions on campus? I think, for me, I would say no, but we need to work through that. And so that'll be something coming in the future, as well as how often Senate meets and so on. And so with that, you are still in for a treat as Board of Trustee members for having Dr. Balsley in the future to report, because I'm going to be turning over, the baton to Mike happily. When I rejoined the faculty, Mike was my first department head that I had to report to. Okay, and he gave me a little WOU unicorn teddy bear that I still have in my office, a little WOU attire on it. I can't remember the reason for the unicorn, or if that was the only thing available at the time in the bookstore, but we're good colleagues. And you should be in for a treat, because I'm going to back away and take my rat biology-oriented biology perspective, rats in space and rats in hibernation, and not rats, but ground squirrels and so on. But I'm going to turn you over to somebody that studies slugs and crayfish and other very relevant things, to keep industry running. So with that, I would like to turn the official Faculty Senate placard over to Michael.
I'll assume that applause was for Steve, since I've done nothing yet, but hopefully I will earn the same. And I always get worried when Steve gives an introduction on where it's going to go. I thought he was going to talk about the work I've done with leeches and was going to compare himself to the rats and me to the leeches, so I appreciate that he went with the slugs and the crayfish instead. So I've met many of you before. I've been at board meetings in the past in various roles on campus. I came to Western in 2011 and joined the biology department when Steve was dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Since then, I've served as biology department head. I've been on Faculty Senate numerous times. I served as associate provost for academic effectiveness under Rob Winningham, and then I served as the director of institutional research for several years as well. So Lots of you have seen me in different capacities here and in other meetings on campus. When the Faculty Senate President position was first announced by email looking for people to take the Faculty Senate position, I quickly deleted the email the first time because it was, I appreciate the new collective bargaining agreement with the faculty, because one of the things that we've done in there with workload units is kind of looked at how service is done across campus. And there are some faculty who have a hard time keeping their fingers out of pies or pots, I don't know, if they're keeping their fingers out of things. And I'm certainly one of those people. So I appreciated the workload units because it gave me a way to say no to things. And so when I saw the first email came out, I said, I have my stuff all worked out for next year. I have my workload unit plan. I'm not going to mess with this. And then it came out again, and I sat back and thought about where we were as a university, where we might be going as a university, and thought about that I've had some experience in administration as faculty, especially with new Dean of College of Liberal Arts and Sciences coming in, a new Dean of the College of Education coming in. We're losing some of that faculty perspective, like the Western faculty perspective in administration, and I couldn't think of a good reason not to step into the Faculty Senate President role. So I rearranged what I was doing next year to take this opportunity, hopefully to work with the Provost's office and the board and the faculty and figure out ways that we can shape Western for the next 10 or 15 years.
Any questions from the board members? Well, thank you for your years of service here with us, and thank you for answering the email and hanging out with us from here on out. We do really appreciate our work is dependent largely upon what we hear and the reports we get in from the various stakeholders in the university. So we appreciate you being here and being thorough and providing us the information we need to be able to make the decisions that we need to make. So. All right, so let's move into Staff Senate. Can do that.
Hello, Board of Trustees. My name is Alexis Morrison. I use she, her pronouns, and I am wrapping up my term as Staff Senate President.
There's a theme here
With
today.
me today is Rip Horsey, who will be the incoming Staff Senate President, but more on that later. So I'm happy to say that we've achieved the goals that were identified for the 24-25 academic year. Thanks to the WOU community, we were able to award a $1,000 scholarship for the next academic year. And we continue to encourage the community to help support the Staff for Students Scholarship Fund. I, again, included flyers in my report. Sorry, and thank you. Our goal of consistent communication and guest speakers was also met. The Staff Senate email account will continue to be the source of official correspondence to and from the Staff Senate, helping folks know what's coming from who. We've had an ongoing challenge this academic year in finding and maintaining particularly classified staff representatives. Classified staff feel overworked, and in many cases, they feel behind. So I'll pose a question, and I don't expect a response. I just want you to think about it. How can classified staff and supervisors of classified staff prioritize that service to the university? Staff Senate general elections are currently underway, but we're still seeing low engagement from classified staff members in particular. To that end, the executive committee decided to add a write-in option for self-nominations of classified staff who may be a little hesitant but had some interest. And then that being said, it is my pleasure to introduce Rip Horsey from Campus Recreation as incoming Staff Senate President. I won't put Rip on the spot, but you will hear from him the next academic year. The 25-26 Executive Committee also includes Vice President Gregory Vineyard from Financial Aid, and continuing as Secretary Treasurer is Amber Plon from Sponsored Projects. Lastly, the Staff Connections Committee has had great membership and support from the WOU community over the years. Over the past academic year, Staff Connections has facilitated outdoor games and walks, trivia events, and the renowned Halloween costume and decorating contest. Most recently, the Bring Your Own Lunch picnic on April 30th was a great opportunity to engage folks across campus and play some yard games. That is it for my report. Thank you so much, and do you have any questions?
All right. Again, just echo the gratitude that I previously stated for stepping up and for all the reports you have given us through the years.
Thank you.
Okay, and as for the ASWU, there was a newsletter that was included in our board packets that had the information, so I don't think we're going to hear from them today. We will move on to our union stakeholders. Oh, look at them waiting to see which one back there.
We're taking our bets right
Okay,
now, actually.
I am going to call up Dr. Melanie Linden Hayes.
I had to teach until 4, so I was writing my notes.
Oh.
Thank you for the time and the opportunity to speak to you today. Being able to meet with you as a board is always just a pleasure. It makes a difference in our work as a union, and this connection that we have to collaborate with you is something that we value. It helps us to, I think, reach our potential in continuing to make a difference for WOU. So as a reminder, my name is Melanie Landon Hayes, and I'm the president of WOU FT for another month. Faculty in the Division of Education and Leadership and the Director of General Education and Student Transitions now. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And this is my last report to you as the president of WOU FT. I've had the honor of doing this work for 4 years, but it was time to move forward with new leadership, and we held an election last week, and my wonderful colleague, so excited, Ben Cote was elected to be our incoming president. He has served as the WOU FT Secretary, VP of Political Action, and as a bargaining team member. Probably the genius in numbers behind any proposal that we have that has something to do with math. He's a faculty member in the math department, and you're going to really enjoy working with him. So I'm going to let him introduce himself a little bit to beyond that.
So yes, lovely to see you all here. I'm happy to be incoming president and be working with all of you and working together to make our campus a better place for students and faculty and everyone. So thanks for having me.
We also voted on the positions of VP of Membership and our Communications Director, and our incumbents ran for these positions, so we're excited to have Rebecca McCannell continue as the VP of Membership and Stuart Baker as the Communications Director. He's a wizard with words, and we're so excited that he stayed on. We alternate our elections on even and odd years, so the positions of Treasurer and VP of Political Action will remain constant, with Scott Beaver staying on as Treasurer and Mary Pettinger as our VP of Political Action, unless she gets elected as a state representative, so that could happen. She's running right now. They've done great work, and we're grateful for their continued service. With Ben stepping in as president, our secretary position is now vacant, and we're working to find his replacement, and our bylaws allow us to appoint for open positions outside of the election window, so we hope to have this position filled by fall. We've had a number of new people reach out with interest in serving as stewards and going to our convention, and so we're really excited because we haven't had the problem of getting people to step up. We have people who are excited and willing to serve, so we think that we'll be able to fill that. Since we last met, we had a great May Day party to celebrate the labor movement. Combined with SEIU, we had quite a few people in attendance, and quite a few of you were there too. It was a really nice time to get together and celebrate the work that is done on our campus. We also had a couple of legislators in attendance. Senator Deb Patterson was there and Representative Farah Chechi. Both are important advocates for higher education and key allies as we advocate for better funding to support our university mission. And these political connections are super important to us locally as well. And at the state level, we've seen tremendous growth in our legislative power as a union due to the structural changes of our parent union, AFT Oregon. they've taken a more direct approach in their advocacy efforts, and they've dedicated countless dollars and hours to being sure that we have staff in the Capitol building. And our local has had many chances, because we're so close, many chances to help shape their message and influence their advocacy. Moving forward, we're working to sharpen that message to focus more specifically on the truths and the unique intersection we hold between the universities and the community colleges. In the HEC's most recent report on funding, we dropped from 44th to 46th in the nation for investments in higher ed. But interestingly, in Oregon, we fund community college as well, and we're at 15th in the nation. Given the deeply rooted work we do in our communities as regional universities and the important populations we serve, especially with our focus on first-gen students and as an HSI, we believe in WOU that there's an argument to be made for nuance in funding that recognizes and elevates regionals and the funding models. So consequently, though I'll be exiting local leadership at WOU, I've stayed on in a leadership role at AFT Oregon and was elected as the VP of Full-Time Faculty Affairs to our state leadership at our most recent convention, and I look forward to continuing to advocate for WOU at the state level in funding conversations. In our joint labor management committee meetings, as well as other meetings with senior leadership, we've held conversations about instructional faculty contracts, summer teaching, individual course categories, sabbatical, and other faculty concerns. And we've appreciated these continued dialogues with administration and the progress we're making in shared understanding. We've spent a lot of time this year shepherding in the changes that were made in the contract, just as Mike and Steve pointed out. Judy always laughs when I say this, but we added 44 pages to the contract. Those 44 pages have actual meaningful things in them. It's not just about page number, but we made a lot of changes in the contract. And we've spent the year shepherding those in. In prior years, our main bargaining centered on salaries, but this year we made many meaningful additions and revisions to the contract. So we've had shared work groups with members of both the admin and union teams meeting regularly throughout the year to guide the changes, answer faculty questions, support division chairs in their leadership of the changes. And we're seeing these start to pay off in really positive ways to ensure equity and opportunity for all faculty. We were elated to see one-year contracts extended to a number of instructional faculty this year, assigning them rank that aligned with their years of service at WOU and honors them for their experience and important work that they've done. It was a first that we've seen these kind of contracts come out before the school year began, and it was really exciting to see that for our faculty. The workload units for scheduling were also a big shift, but plans have now been submitted, and we're seeing the stress die down, and we're hearing from faculty about their appreciation to be able to plan their schedule in advance, to collaborate meaningfully about their work, and to have what used to be invisible, which was service, quantified more concretely. And we look forward to working with the new LAS and COE deans on this new system, and are excited about the experience in scheduling that they both bring and insights that they'll add to this. The two bargaining teams have also met a couple of times to craft letters of agreement, memorandums of understanding, and letters of agreement. We've done both to clarify issues in the contract that were not spelled out as concretely as we had hoped when the contract was ratified. And also because why not add more pages than just 44? This work has been positive and has cemented the interest-based bargaining process that has produced such positive results in understanding and collaboration. We meet again next week to plan for fall and set the stage for the economic reopener bargaining sessions that will open in winter term. And finally, we'd like to thank this administration and you as the board for your continued willingness to communicate and collaborate in meaningful ways with us, working intentionally to empower the faculty and to reinvigorate our shared governance processes. We still have work to do, but I'm seeing very positive developments in the ways that faculty engage and communicate about their work, and we're hopeful about our future and think we are well positioned to collaboratively make a difference for the faculty at WOU. We appreciate the support that you as the board give us and all of the work that you've done, and we're also really grateful for this new administration and the help that they've given WOFT in turn. So thank you. Are there any questions? I talk really fast, sorry.
I don't see any, so thank you.
Thank you.
Again, and welcome. Last but not least.
Good afternoon, Chair Fasana, esteemed trustees, President Peter, and my WOU colleagues. It's always a pleasure to see you. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jackson Stalley. I use he, him pronouns, and I represent the hardworking classified staff of WOU 082. Thank you for your time and service, trustees. And thank you, Melanie, for your time here at Western Oregon University as president of WOU FT. You've made quite a bit of difference, and I do not think the impact you've had in shaping the union's political agenda on this campus can be overstated. And we have won some big victories in that legislature recently because of her hard work. So thank you very much. Last time I was here, I spoke of perspectives and how we sit and where we sit and what we're able to see are factors in how we process information. Sometimes we are at the margin and we form opinions from the limited information we get. We don't see well at the margins sometimes, so we are prone to filling in the blanks with rumor and speculation. But sometimes we sit immersed in the middle of it all, and we feel the effects of the echo chamber and of tunnel vision from that spot. But no matter where we sit, we must acknowledge these potential pitfalls and seek out other perspectives to ensure we are getting a complete picture instead of one just built from a single view. And that can be very difficult, and it takes focus, and it takes effort. President Peters' recent campus emails were a welcome change for the kind of communication we at the periphery often perceive that we get. Instead of "we are broke and there will be cuts," we got some insight into what our plan is and why this one will work. We want to buy in, but we need to feel that there is a plan, a new plan, a good plan, instead of the same thing we've been trying for 15 years unsuccessfully. We are all in the same pack. We are all wolves, and our pack can't be successful until we are all successful. And to be successful, we must continue building confidence in our leadership, something we've lacked for a long time here. I've spoken to President Peters on this matter, and I've heard his frustrations, and I am sympathetic. At some level, he and his team are paying the toll incurred from previous administrations. They began behind the 8 ball, and we know that's not fair. But at the same time, staff have paid the price over the years too, and during that time we watched, we listened, and we learned. And when we see what appears to be the same dead-end road, we're going to question, and we're going to use our gained knowledge and experience to walk a new road, to create a new path, to make sure the outcome is not the same. Because we promised the next time would not be the same as the last time. But with that mindset, it can also be difficult for people to not retreat into anger and retreat into fear. And when we talk of people's jobs, their ability to provide and prosper, we must be prepared to listen. These are not just lines on a spreadsheet. We need to hear what others are saying in their darkest times. And this means being able to hear through the fear and to listen, truly listen, without shutting down communication. It is difficult to not take it personally, to not let the barbs penetrate our skin. But it's important because it is exceptionally scary to worry that for all you've worked for years, the life you've built here could be erased, could be gone, and there isn't a backup plan for you. No plan B for most of us here. This is our home, this is where our families and our lives are. Most of us will not be moving along to another university with a bigger paycheck after learning lessons at WOU. We have to be successful here. We have to find a way to again become the university we used to be. We have to find trust. But trust is a difficult thing. It is built piece by piece and can easily be lost. Distrust, on the other hand, forms quickly and easily becomes a habit. Overcoming distrust can take time and effort, and we must continue to make it a priority. And I know if we do, we will get there. I know I've started a little heavy today, and I promise to finish strong. And I hear you, Chair Fasana. It is too nice today. So let's focus on some of the positive. Let's start with staff's relationship with our HR and payroll department. It is a really good example of winning back trust here. Desiree Noah and her team have put in the time and the effort, and that work is paying off. There was an initial honeymoon period, and then we really had to get down to start working, to start facing some unpleasant campus realities. And I'm glad we put in the work on the early side of it because we created relationships and we built trust, which is paying off for us now. These are lessons that can be applied to the larger university community, and these are lessons that are important to WOU 82's members. We want to see that community. We want to feel that trust. Lobby Day last month was a success and was well attended. This kind of institutional effort is useful on many practical levels, but also because we get to forge bonds, community, if you will, with people we don't get to see every day. I was in a group with one of the occupational therapy faculty and an assistant AD. People in my everyday job and movement around campus I rarely get to see. And that was wonderful. Not only did we make a difference at the Capitol, but I got to make some new friends there. I've been to many of these events organized by different groups, and this was one of the best of them that I've attended. Nice job, Evan. Really good work there. Yeah, exactly. No. You may not understand how complex and how many moving parts there are in that building during the chaos of the session. And I thought it went really well. So thank you to all those, including one of our trustees who was there, who gave their time and their energy. And I personally believe we have more support in that building than we know. And I also believe that we are starting to do a good job of consolidating that goodwill. And I can remember a time not long ago when we had no legislative presence. None. But politics is often what we call a long game at WOU 82 and WOU FT, and it is really no different than campus community building. We won't necessarily see the results tomorrow, but if we are successful and we sustain our efforts, we will see the results. I know what lies ahead will not be easy, but the more we communicate and the more we appreciate each other's perspectives and intentions, the more we will be successful. We can't make this happen without each one of us doing our jobs and all of us working together in meaningful ways. And to do that, we need trust and we need community. They won't happen without our focus. I echo President Peter's sentiment from his recent email that says, "We've done a lot of good work over the past few years, but we still have a lot to do as we realize the full potential of Western. But I have no doubt we will get there." I also have no doubt. I know we will. And I know we will get there, not only there, but we will get back there because we used to be there. And I know we will get there because we are all wolves. And because WOU works because we do. Thank you for your time today and your service.
Any questions, comments? Thank you.
Ooh, I got off easy today. Thank you.
All right, Secretary Source, any announcements?
Yeah, so we're a little early, but we do have a reception upstairs in the summit scheduled for 5 o'clock. So you have a little free time to enjoy that sun that folks have been talking about.
Bookstore sale.
Oh, thank you. There is a bookstore sidewalk sale. Sent an email to our trustees. I encourage you to stop by and support our bookstore. And then the last update I have is this morning we posted on today's meeting information a proposed schedule for next year and the year after's board meetings. We took some of the feedback that we heard from EGTC in the light of moving our meetings from 1 o'clock to 3, except for our FAC team, which will stay at 1 because they're long meetings. And I would encourage trustees to take this evening to look at that. And if you have additional feedback, we can talk about it tomorrow or, during the summer. So just wanted that as an announcement as well.
All right, and then just to remind the trustees and the campus community of the coffee chat tomorrow morning from 9 to 9:45, and that is also upstairs.
Yes.
All right, anything else? No? All right, then I think we're in recess till tomorrow morning.